recovery. Julius lays on the hospital bed and now fully understands what the big needle means. The big needle is used to drain blood from his penis to take away the erection. Julius thinks about how he is going to whip Joey's ass for not telling him what was going to happen. Julius is told by the doctor that there is a foreign substance found in him that seems to trigger the reaction. The doctor asks if he has taken any new erectile or designer drugs. Julius denies any knowledge of the origin. Julius is upset and feels humiliated about what happened to him. His head and mind were unfocused. After Julius lays on the table for a while, he notices a pamphlet on the wall for sexual assault victims. Julius comes to the determination that the Yitra had raped him. He thinks to himself of how the Yitra came and took his dick right on the green lawn in the park and held his hands down and just fucked him mercilessly. Julius thinks about the pleasure involved, but the humiliation of getting fucked against his will violently is something that he cannot grasp. As a man, this is a scenario that he does not think is possible. The only time a man of his stature will ever worry about being violated to this degree and against their will would be in prison. Julius turns off his phone. He does not want to talk to anybody. He feels embarrassed about what happened to him. As he lays on the hospital bed feeling sorry for himself, a breaking news report flashes all over PSPN and regular news. 80 athletes have gone missing for the last week and have not reported to their practices and missed their games. The reporter is a voluptuous woman that is a former WNBA player. She reports that 50 NFL players have gone missing. 25 NBA players are missing, and 5 boxers could not be found. The tone is serious. There are breaking news reports all over. Julius turns to a couple of different channels and they are all reporting the same stories. The family members, girlfriends, baby mamas, wives, mothers, and fathers had no idea where their men are. Some of the athletes' entire entourages could not be found either. The reporter cites that the police found large bags of cocaine in all of the players' living quarters, hotels, condos, and houses. The reporter then brings in a panel to discuss the missing players. Julius is disgusted at the news coverage. His initial emotion of despair is fading and turning into something else. Julius immediately thinks that the Yitras have to be behind this. Julius feels that the Yitra are getting bolder and that since bodies cannot be found anymore, they must have refined their methods. One of the reporters, John Watts, a journalist from a conservative paper in Chicago, stated, "The hood just can't seem to be taken out of these athletes. They have ample opportunity to live productive lives, but they still want to continue their thuggish ways and drug dealing. Indeed sad," says the Chicago reporter. Rodney Powell, a former professional football player in New York, is noticeably disturbed by news reports and says, "I have met some of these guys, and the guys I met never did drugs and never associated with people that did them," says Rodney. John Watts, who ironically is a reporter from a black-owned paper, chimed in, "Well, obviously the thuggish ways of their thug teammates and the homeboys and their entourage seems to have rubbed off on them." Maria Alvarez, a reporter from the Dallas Statement, had a different proposal. "These players are making millions," she says. "They shouldn't be allowed to go to the nightclubs and other functions. For the money they make, they should have to sacrifice and stay home." Ricky Johnson is noticeably upset. "Geez, these men aren't dogs or slaves anymore for that matter. Nobody asks investment bankers to stay home, and may I remind you that these investigations are ongoing. None of these players are found. Everything right now is merely speculation and accusations," says Ricky Johnson. Jimmy Strong, a black reporter working for a white news company that reports black news, has a rebuttal. "Well, we do it to ourselves," he says. "All of the black-on-black crime and the hip-hop culture is responsible for all of this. We have to look at ourselves. We glorify cocaine culture. So now the chickens have come home to roost, says Jimmy Strong. John Watts knows who Jimmy works for and why he says his views. Your deflections have nothing to do with the missing people, says John Watts. We are talking about missing people, not black on black crime, or the hip hop culture, which is predominantly owned and bought by whites. So if anyone is supposed to be a gang banging and slanging it, should be the white community because they're consuming all of the hip hop, says John Watts. The black mediator for the network, Terry Line, quickly goes to commercial. The tweets are coming in fast. At the bottom of the screen, the outpouring of the country blaming the athletes for coming up missing because of bad drug trafficking deals is amazing to Julius. The overall theme of the messages is that the athletes are overpriced thugs who are squandering their privilege for being able to play in these leagues and making considerable wealth. Julius has seen enough now. His feelings of despair have morphed into hot volcanic anger. It is time for a reckoning. Vengeance is not sufficient. There has to be balance. And Julius plans on achieving it. Julius put his clothes on hurriedly. Hopefully his insurance will fully cover the hospital visit, he thinks. If not, there were more pressing issues to worry about right now. Julius gets to his car in the hospital parking lot and decides to open the trunk to reveal his shotgun and a few pistols. He drives to his home hurriedly. Julius looks at his phone and remembers that Lisa is undercover. Julius calls Lisa and gets the voicemail message. Julius yells on the voicemail for her to leave the case.
Lisa, this is Julius. Get off this case right now. There's a whole other element that we are not prepared for. The group responsible for this has the advantage. Get out now.
Julius wants to explain to her why she should leave over the answering machine, but he knows it will not resonate well. Lisa and Julius are both hard of head. Once she focuses and locks in on something, it's hard to get her to change her mind. Like himself, Lisa needs to arrive at the epiphany on her own. When he arrives at his house, he opens the trunk and pulls out some of the weapons and packs them into the worn-out duffel bag. The news is on again concerning the missing athletes. Volunteers and fans are scouring everywhere looking for their favorite athletes for the local professional sports teams. These athletes are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Some of the teams are at significant points in the season, so their ownership and coaches have vested interest. He enters his house and then places all the guns on the kitchen table. He went to his garage to grab a saw. He began to use the saw on one of his shotgun's barrels. He then grabs a large butcher's knife from the kitchen that his dad used to own. He tucks the butcher's knife in his brown-red trench coat. He then attaches his sawed-off shotgun to his back and lines up his jacket with pistols. He walks over to his car and decides to head to the most prestigious black club in the city, the Garden. Parking in the area is difficult, but today he will need to pay to be close to the club and be incognito. Julius has $20 to get into the parking deck. He walks through the club doors and shows his badge. He also knows one of the guards at the club, so they let him in with no problems. He walks over to the VIP area. Julius notices one of the new rookies from the Warlocks basketball team sitting in the VIP area with his entourage. The kid is Jack Brown, 6'8", small forward from Alabama, and he stands out like a sore thumb. It is evident to everyone in the club that he is a professional athlete. A group of women approaches him and his entourage in the VIP area. These women are wearing dresses like it's the Grammys. They have on expensive dresses, top designer handbags, expensive gaudy jewelry laced with large diamonds, and high-end high-heel shoes. The jewelry they wear all seem to be authentic, while another set of women around them seems out of place. Julius pays attention to the other women that are around the gaudy women. They are surprisingly gorgeous, yet shy and awkward. They generally seem uncomfortable relating to men, but judging on their body language and obvious eye contact with the men, they have a keen interest. Their eyeballs at men are very reckless. The way a groupie looks at a celebrity or a sloppy gold digger looks at a wealthy man. The women are talking to the men. Julius has never seen those women in public eye before. The awkward women look like they are being coached on the general subtleties of black culture. Their mannerisms are just like the previous Yichira woman who raped him, observant, clumsy, fearful, and focused. While all the parties in the room walk around unsure of the night and what their destinies are in this world, these awkward women are different. They have a goal of their destination, a sense of where they are going, a manifest destiny. Julius begins to put pieces together. The woman with the gaudy jewelry must be their proxies. The diamonds the woman wears shine brightly. Julius can tell the difference between cubic zirconium and a diamond and knows that no woman will risk wearing something fake so openly in a materialistic atmosphere such as the Incognito Club. To wear the kind of items they have on, they will have to be somebody's or be kept by somebody or have a relationship with a significant somebody. The gaudy women are not reserved enough to be with ballers or even be kept as a mistress. These women are bots. The most they will be able to attain from a baller will be a quick fuck or, if lucky, a child support check. Julius searches their fingers with his eyes. There are no wedding rings on these women's fingers, and a mistress that is collecting money on this level will not be blatantly and openly talking to men in an entourage like this in public. They will only have focus on the ball player individually. The gaudy women have no decorum and are very loud. One of them even slaps another female clubgoer in the face and laughs. The female clubgoer tries to fight back, but security quickly grabs her and escorts her out of the club. Julius perceives how the women are getting preferential treatment because of the money they are spending in the organization. Even the ball player, Jack Brown, seems aghast at how they were going through the menu ordering ridiculous items just to be seen having it. Who the fuck orders crab legs and lobster in the club for a whole entourage? Thinks Julius. The gaudy women are heathens to the highest order, burping and talking while food is coming out of their mouths. The awkward woman quietly watches as the flashy women overindulge on everything. Julius is virtually positive that the awkward women are Yitri, and if he has confirmation, he will have blown their heads off for sure right in the club. Julius observes the tattoos the gaudy women have and notices that some of them have tattoos only displaying the letter Y, and a few of them have a branding with the letter Y exposed under their skin. Julius' anger begins to rise as he contemplates the notion of the gaudy woman as co-conspirators. Julius considers that if they are helping the Yitra attain men, then they must know what the Yitra are doing to the men. Julius' mind begins to fester hot hatred for these gaudy women. How could someone knowingly work with a group of people that enjoy consuming your people? Were these obnoxious women so tacky that they believe that there is pride to wearing and attaining goods by such despicable means? Julius watches the gaudy woman, and it is evident that they are deluded. What is worse is that they do not hide in the shadows with their money and material gain. They are eager and proud to show the world their material gain from ill-gotten deeds. They are show ponies. Julius cannot sense an ounce of guilt or shame upon their souls. They are premeditating, uncompromising, and relentless with their support for the Yitra. Julius realizes that he is going to have to be the same. Julius initially believes that the Yitra are working by themselves, merely hunters hunting for prey. After seeing the gaudy, flamboyant women, he realizes that this issue is much worse. The Yitra have already created a system to attain their desires, and these black women are part of it. Julius is so ready to react and be reactive, but he anticipates that it will be to his detriment at this time. Julius determines that he is going to have to be more calculating than the Yitra to outmaneuver them. Julius' anger towards the earners for the Yitra begin to subside. The women are free-willing pawns, extremely replaceable, judging by the current conditions of his people. Julius figures that it is frivolous to worry about such lost cost. The people in support of the Yitra are never going to be their equals to them, no matter how many black people they feed them. These Yitra earners are more like the help or even more demeaning pets. Julius considers that these pets may have inside knowledge on how to stop and eliminate the Yitra, even if the pets are unaware of the knowledge they possess. Julius is critically thinking and is focusing on the Yitra and their possible various weaknesses. The women are leading the men out of the VIP area. Nothing about this scenario sits well with Julius. These women may have involvement in this shit, is what he thinks to himself as he clutches one of his pistols through his coat.